I'd like to call our Forest Lake Area Schools regular school board meeting to order, Thursday, April 4th. Let's open up with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. It looks like we've got a nice big crowd. That's great. Member Clerk, could you please take a roll call?
Yes. Member Christensen is here. Member Corcoran. Here. Member Hagelin.
Here.
Member Peterson.
Here.
Member Raphael.
Here.
Member Reveline.
Here.
Member Tyson. Here. All here.
Great. All right, do we have a motion to approve the meeting agenda? So moved. Second. Any discussion? No discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Agenda is approved. Scheduled and unscheduled visitors, listening session.
We had two members of the community come in and talk about several different topics, including some issues that were at recently at the Osseo School District, and some conversation around future levy plans for the district, etc.
All right, thank you. Student achievement, Forest Lake Area High School SAG group.
We start with industrial tech, Mr. Chair.
What's that?
Can we start with the industrial tech group? I'm not sure
Student
Sad got the
achievement,
memo.
Forest Lake Area High School Industrial Tech Team.
I'm not sure Sad got the memo that the school board time changed, so I just texted them. So,
Now we're sad.
exactly, they still might be here, and if they have to jump in after the community school, they can do that. This is how this meeting's gonna go.
All
But
right, perfect, go ahead.
Dr. Massey, Chair, and the rest of the school board, thanks for having us here again. We hope to do a little catch-up tonight because we've had some groups that have been busy and not able to come to the last few meetings. If SAD shows up, they can either come in right after these guys or they can jump in after the community school. So I appreciate that. We have our industrial tech team here today with some students. We have been working, as you guys know, really, really hard to create career pathways, and a huge part of that has been in our industrial tech area, getting our students and our staff to work across the different classroom and genres that they teach. So I'm going to do like I normally do and get out of the way and let the experts talk. And I'm going to start with Mr. Kelly Nichols, who will introduce the rest of the team and get the call to start.
Thank you, Principal Caldwell. Thank you, Superintendent Massey, and thank you, School Board, for giving us the time to come here and present to you tonight. As you can see up there, I'd just like to introduce you to the members of our Industrial Tech Department at the secondary level. Mike Bodette, our Woods teacher, and Carl Mitchell, our Metals teacher, Bob Behrens, our Carpentry teacher, and Frank Malone, our Auto teacher. Can I switch to the next slide? Oh, I'm the switcher. It's a little bit tough to see, but I just want to just give a brief overview. We have about 7 lanes up there for students to take at the high school. And lanes, if you want to think of maybe a bowling alley. And as Principal Caldwell said, as Jim said, we are trying to get the students to move out of those lanes a little bit, as if you want to imagine zigzagging a little bit, but coming back into their lane. So we've been working hard over the last few years in our PLC groups, on our professional development days, to bring projects or introduce projects to the students where they have the opportunity to move back and forth a little bit. Looking at the picture also, what separates us, and I applaud our school board for this, what separates us from other districts is all these lanes and all these classes that the students have the opportunity to take. If they develop a mastery in some of these classes. And that's what separates us, and that's what Forest Lake, that's special to us. So with that, I think, it's not moving. There we go. This is a video of
I'm
Brendan.
Nick Marsh, and I'm a senior at Forest Lake High School. My CTE pathway is manufacturing, and after high school, I planned to go to Pine Tech for precision machining and welding. My project is a prosthetic attachment to hold a bow for a music student with cerebral palsy. This is my original design. I made this curved part for the arm, and then added these slots for like Velcro, and then this part which actually holds the bow. I realized after designing it, and after my fellow classmate took it over, that this piece was actually upside down. So in the final version, he fixed that, and this part needed to be a little bit smaller since the student had a smaller arm than expected. This is the finished part. As you can see, this piece is now the correct direction instead of being upside down, and this spot is a little bit skinnier, making it fit more comfortably in the student's arm.
Thank you, Brandon.
This is actually a Scandia Elementary student, music student. So that's from Scandia Elementary. And we've worked with the music department on that, and we've also worked with fax department. They're the ones putting the bands on it.
Good.
Hi, my name is Brendan Marsh. I'm a senior at Forest Lake High School. This is my blog. I started off with a design in SolidWorks. Kind of made the whole putter design, figured out stuff that I liked. Then brought it over to Fusion 360. Got it programmed for the G code for the CNC. And then finally brought it over to Cut Control, which is what we use to actually program the CNC. This is a first rough cut. We still have to do the second cut to make it smoother, but in the end, it'll look something like this.
That smaller CNC machine that you just saw was actually a Tefla grant that Mr. Mitchell, along with a lot of help from his wife who assisted him, wrote and sent to Tefla, and was awarded this year with them. So that's a incredible result of my work with them. Sorry.
Sure. Tim is the second student that took over for Brendan because Brendan switched out of my class. He went to a different class and Tim took over on the prosthetic attachment.
Hi, my name is Timothy Ferry. I'm a senior at Forest Lake High School. My CT pathway is engineering. And I plan on enrolling at Michigan Tech after this year. My project is a prosthetic device for a orchestra student with cerebral palsy so that she can hold her bow properly. Her hand will just go through the straps. When they're not done, she'll hold her wrist normally on the bow. I inherited this project from Brendan Marsh, who you'll hear from further in this video, and put about 10 hours into this. I did only need 10 hours because Brendan already had depth and size of the fitting correct along with length of the full unit. So I only needed to redesign after directly talking to the students who have actually met the kid about how their hand's going to fit in and how the angle of the bow is working for trying to get the best sound out of the instrument.
What program did you use?
I'm just here on our SolidWorks program. After 2 years in, 2 years in their engineering courses, it's pretty familiar with to me.
You ready, Zach? Grab
your center cap there?
So I am Zach Burns. I am taking an automotive career pathway, and I am a junior in high school. I had to make a new center cap for my truck because it broke and they no longer manufacture those parts. So instead of spending $200 to $400 to get it shipped from overseas by a third-party vendor, I decided to go into Nicholas class and use SolidWorks to design and print out my own center cap with all the correct dimensions. I've had it on my truck for just over 3 weeks, and they all seem to be holding up fine.
Pictures are in.
So I'm Josh Renstrom, a senior at Forest Lake High School, and while taking metals and also cabinet class, I made a gun cabinet essentially with sheet steel for an inlay in the door. My career path in the future is I'm going to trade school for welding. I'm going to Dakota County starting in August of this year. I wanted to make this because I thought it would be something different and I liked the way that it would look. Yeah.
I'm Hunter Rebeline, and I'm a senior, and I've taken the metals classes and the CAD programs we have here at Forest Lake. I designed a pinball machine in SolidWorks. I designed each individual part and then put it all together in the computer, making sure each of the dimensions fit each other so that when I could cut it out using a laser out of wood, they would all fit together and I wouldn't have to redesign it 13 times. This is the main board here. We got it cut out today, so I didn't have time to assemble it, but it all fits together. Yeah. That is the design of what it will become, all these parts in SolidWorks, and each of those are individual pieces and all were put together in the program. A bunch of it moves like actual pinballs, so I can make sure the mechanisms and the clearances were all correct. Here's a closer view of the board. It was a lot of fun designing the top of the board because I could put whatever I wanted on it, a spinning wheel and a grate that moved the balls places.
Hunter, when I was in class and you were showing me this, you were able to manipulate in SolidWorks those different movable parts. Talk about that.
Yeah, so the parts, like that one there, is the plunger mechanism that'll shoot the ball up the top of the board. And that's a feature in SolidWorks that allows you to make sure that the mechanisms you're designing will fit together and move correctly in the real world. It simulates how they will sit together as parts. And it's a really big help. I would have no idea if any of my shaft lengths or pivot points would really do what I wanted them to do without it. There's the top of the pinball, the most complex parts. It's got the plunger mechanism and the flapper that has buttons on the sides there. So then once you're done in SolidWorks and all of the parts fit together and you've simulated it and you know it'll probably work, you then have to put it into another program. This one's AutoCAD. It's two-dimensional, so it looks at every part from top-down view, and that's so that the laser can trace it and cut it out through the wood. You have to change the colors so that the laser knows if it's cutting or engraving, making cool pictures. I put the FL logo on it. It seemed a little fitting. And I'd end up using 2 full sheets on our laser, so it was a pretty big project. There's 73 parts that I had to put together to make this thing work.
How much time do you have into this?
3-4 weeks, I think, is how long I've been working on this project. And it came together right at the end of it, so it's been nonstop work. That's the end. Yeah, that's the end.
And what are you doing for school next year?
I'm going to school for animation at Dakota State University in South Dakota. And animation and SolidWorks are kind of similar because in SolidWorks you design a lot of parts and you're in a 3D space, so it's pretty close to 3D animation. You're in that 3D space designing lots of stuff. So it'll be pretty helpful knowing how it would look in the real world. That is my project.
Alex, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I'm all good. Hello, everyone. My name is Alexander Schminke. I'm here part of Bob Barron's carpentry class, Carpentry 2. That's me right there, well, to the left of the middle. So what this class means to me is I plan to be a general contractor. That's one thing that I've strived to become ever since my father was a general contractor underneath, I don't know if any of you guys know, Nico Construction, if anyone have ever heard of it. But what that means to me is this is a wonderful opportunity for me to be able to go there, hone my skills, be able to get all the hands-on work, be able to see how tools operate, and just increasing my familiarity with them. So what we do is we work as teams. Bob will appoint, or the group will choose someone who will be, I guess, a job lead. Then they assign jobs to everyone else, and we work in groups. Sometimes we'll work in pairs. Sometimes we'll have people alone working on projects. But yeah, go to the next one. So we are working with the Almond Threshing Show. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been there, but we are doing the ticket booth. That's what we are doing on the left right there. So we've been doing framing, we've been doing siding, we've been doing roofing, soffit and fascia. And then we are also working with the athletic department. We are building 4 dugouts. There's them getting assembled right there. That is going to be the top. We're eventually going to put sheet metal up there for roofing. Oh, we did have another slide that was showing how we work with, it says how we do it, showing how we work with other groups. So sometimes we might not have tools that we'll essentially need, where sometimes we were bending metal, doing soffit and fascia. We went over to the metals class and they had tools that we could better use to do the job. Not only that, CAD and some other programs like that for building layouts and getting everything set for what we'll build to get a good plan.
Sure, and then we're done. I know we're on a timeline.
Hello, Mike Bodette. I teach cabinet making, and along with Mr. Mitchell, 9th grade woods and metals. I do the woods portion, he does the metals. We've been struggling how to get that interdisciplinary to go, something that didn't need to be sequential. Students I have first quarter, he gets second quarter, and we flip. So we need to come up with something that I could do and they could hang on to and finish in his class and vice versa. So we came up, I do a nameplate, and then he came up with a holder for the nameplate. They're gonna use this as a blank and they're gonna get to personalize it. Maybe put, I don't know if their favorite team is the New York Islanders. It could say Islanders, their favorite number, and then they can have their name in the middle. So that's one thing we're working on to get the 9th grade, their feet wet and to do what Josh did, which is to incorporate both of them. Another thing I do with Mr. Nichols, we do wood burning on our pieces, and some of the kids really struggle with fine motor skills, and it's hard to trace. We do this old school, you trace it, and they just have a tough time. So we take the picture, bring it to Mr. Nichols, he laser engraves it for them. They now have a template that they can fill in and end up with a nice project when they do leave. So I lean on both those guys for my classes. So that's what we do.
Thank you.
All right, do you have any questions?
More of a comment, I really appreciate the carpentry program as a carpenter. Those of you going into it, I really appreciate that program, but I also, for all of you, have projects in my house from your classes, and they're great, right? I've got things that are wood burned, and I got a table next to the chair, Weatherby wood burned across it, and depends on what shotgun we were shooting for trap that year.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but just with the carpentry class, it's a great time to be able to hone in on some of those household or those skills for once you do have a house. It's very important to be able to save a lot of money and know how to do some work yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Like those are life skills, so I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the fact that as a board, we've hung on to all these classes when many districts have cut them. You know, for the community, I'd remind them, these are expensive. These classes are expensive. They're really valuable to have, though. We teach real life skills. So thank you all for the work you do. I appreciate it. And also enjoy the fruits of the labor in my house.
More of a comment than a question as well. I had the distinct privilege of hanging out with this group for about 4 hours yesterday and showed up unannounced, just kind of popped into the classes, and I really appreciate you guys showing me around, showing me the different things you did, giving me a preview of tonight's presentation. While you guys were talking, one of the reasons I actually asked Hunter what he was going into college for, I obviously know, being that he's my son, but I wanted to point out how cross-disciplinary or interdisciplinary this is. He's going to school for 3D animation. You would not think that industrial tech classes would really help his career, but it does. He's in there, he's in the CAD programs, he's understanding. Now he's bringing it to life in front of him, and he's understanding the dimensions on the screen versus the dimensions on the table in front of him. And I think it's going to be a really important skill for him as he goes into the 3D animation too. And that's something that he wouldn't have had the opportunity to do that without these industrial tech classes. And so it does go beyond the trades. It's really beneficial, and we're helping the music program as well. So I left super impressed. It's definitely not, we called them shop back in my day, not the shop classes I took. We didn't get the opportunity to move from metals to woods and actually combine them into a single project. So I love that you guys are doing that. Keep it up.
I just want to say I'm very happy to see this, as Member Eveline said. In my day it was called shop class, but you've expanded it beyond what we were able to do. And with the way that the working world is going these days, the trades is in need of future skilled employees, and not everybody's going to be going on to get a 4-year degree. They're going to go right into the trades, and I think that it'll have just as successful, even possibly more successful future as people with a degree, because you have those hands-on skills, and to see that you're getting that already here in high school and be able to take it on and not only learn it, but create such nice projects doing it. You're not just going through the motions, you're actually putting your skills to good use, and I really appreciate it, and I hope to see these programs continue to be successful.
Yes, I just want to say everything was so impressive, and it's so nice to meet you tonight. I have never met either of you, but thank you to your contributions to our program. To Jeff's point, Member Peterson, we did go through deep cuts, and we really were dug in and said, we are not getting rid of our auto shop program. There's hardly any left in the state in a high school. And so we hung on to it, and it is so proud. I'm just so proud tonight to see how it's grown and expanded, and just everything that is available to our students. So a question I have for, maybe it's more for Principal Caldwell, is I know you talked about the new milling from the TEPLA grant. We had Polaris and we had a big piece of equipment. Since we're expanding, are there other needs that we have?
These guys can actually answer that better than I can. There are always needs. I mean, and Carl, this new machine that he brought in is actually a smaller version of the very large mill that we got through the grant and through our work with Polaris and the DLI grant and things like that, which actually hindsight's always 20/20. I would rather have 6 of these than that one big one. They're learning the exact same skills. You can have more kids on the machines, those types of things. And as technology evolves, and that's the relationship we have with businesses, they're telling us what skills they want, and they're sharing their things, and they're giving us, we've had motors donated, we've had all kinds of things. It's those relationships. But these guys can answer the more specific question of what the needs are, and we might be here another 2 hours.
But our expansion, we're keeping up with what we need. And it sounds like they know how to like cross over and get what they need for tools and everything, so. Well, thank you.
If I can make a quick comment, I'm Mr. Malone, I do the automotive department, and I was just granted through Perkins, it was $32,000 to get a new lift put in. That will be coming in yet this spring, we'll get that installed over the summer. Now next year, we're gonna work with the alignment machine that goes with that. So it's gone from the days of setting your steering wheel to go straight, to make every one of those sensors and cameras go straight. So when that little light comes on for the car to the right or left, it's really there and not here. And that's all incorporated now into our cars. So a week ago when we had slippery days, you slide into a curb, now you gotta go get all that adjusted. So it's a whole other set of electronics, which once again falls into a category that we really didn't talk about tonight, was the electricity and electronics, and how that falls into the disciplines too.
Oh, thank you. Well, you're all going to have a leg up in your career, and it's so impressive how you're job ready and you showing these amazing skills you already have, and we're very proud of that.
I also wanted to compliment the students on their projects. They look great, and the center caps, I mean, there's a fortune to be made there, because I've had to source a couple of those, and it's about impossible to get these days.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just wondering about that number of students. Does it seem to be a growing area over what's in the past? I mean, did we have enough availability for the staff to handle the amount of students?
Yes. Actually, there's, I don't want to get into too much detail.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
There was a slight increase in their FTE in their department this year. So we won't be sharing teachers with our community school, who also is in dire need of programs like this and are trying to start one as well.
Because like I said, not every student's going to be doing the 4-year college, as Luke has said. And it's great that we have, kids don't even know what they like until they try it. I mean, that's the thing, but we have that great opportunities for these kids to try a welding class and try, woodworking. Do they really like it? I mean, you don't know until you try. So we're going to, hopefully, Forest Lake, we're going to keep that going. So thank you for coming and showing your projects. It's great. Excited.
So I've got a couple of questions. One, as far as like automotive, I mean, a lot of the work now is diagnostic, and it's like all the different controls on the car are all CAN bus. Do you feel like you've got the equipment, the scanners and the picoscopes and stuff like that necessary to kind of really, so much of the automotive work now is diagnostics?
Yeah, it is. And that's what I'm trying to get the students to understand, that when I went to school, they pushed me down in automotive because I struggled in the academic area. There was 6 things you need to know and you can make it work. Now most guys, they spend 20 minutes to a half an hour looking at a computer screen doing diagnosis to get an idea of what they're looking for. I guess the easiest way to put it, there used to be 6 things that could go wrong with a car, now there's about 60,000. So you kind of got to narrow the field. And with this electronic age, yeah, will we ever have enough equipment or be current enough? No, because each year, each manufacturer comes out with something new, the latest and greatest. I don't ever want to be on that first couple of years of stuff coming out, because some things only last for a year. So we try to stick within that 3 to 5 year range. And right now I'm working with 2 car dealerships with the Luther Company to get some of their retired equipment as they buy the new, to get it back in and recycle it back through that way. It doesn't get the same use it does in the field, but for us it's just fun. I think we spend about $2,000 to $2,500 a year in subscriptions for online information and stuff like that. And that's only going to change, I'm hoping it'll stay the same, but as the complexity comes in, now you got to branch out to a few more too.
So is that like all data subscriptions? And,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, the all data, the Mitchell Information System. Most of the manufacturers will supply it to schools for free. I've got Ford, General Motors, Toyota, anything I want to do through the training schools like at Dunwoody, they'll help support us. They won't necessarily give us the tools and equipment, but they'll bring it up, let us use it for a while, even bring their instructors in to do a 1 or a 2 day. So they're really, well, how I worded it today is I can teach them how to dance, but I got 2 left feet. So let's get someone who knows how to dance and we can maybe get a waltz out of it. You know, because I can't be an expert in it all. I can just get them excited and hopefully lead them in the right direction so they want to pick up and pursue from there.
Perfect, great. Another question I had is, what are you guys doing to recruit women into these programs?
You know, there's not, that's a tough one. And here's why. We present everything to every student. We've had classes that were specifically designed for women in woods, women in metals. And to be honest with you, kids didn't sign up for them. And the girls that did, or the women that did, would report back to us, that's not what we want. We want to be in the class with the guys and those types of things. It's our continued work through our launch programs with Mike and Molly. It's getting information out to families so they can make decisions. It's working through Ranger Connect, so if it fits their career pathway, they're really choosing the courses that fit that. We've had several successes, and you guys will probably remember the names. I know for at least one female student a year ago that went into construction because of our courses here. And it happens all the time. Could we do more? Absolutely.
All right. And then lastly, I work in product development, and I've been working on medical stuff, and yeah, it's like every day it's like, oh, I have to get this thing to do this. I work in software, but I'll go over and talk to the mechanical engineer. He can show me on SolidWorks the part actually moving. He can slice through it and show me how some actuator works, and then then we'll get a new board in. I work with the electrical engineers, and so that cross-pollination between these different disciplines is just critical for being successful in, imagining what a product will be, imagining how all the parts come together, designing them out, starting with computer models and developing those into real models. It's just such a critical thing. So I'm just thrilled that Forest Lake is really pushing that these disciplines overlap, and and I like the fact that some of our elementaries start that work, and that by the time you get into those higher grades, so you're familiar with some of these tools with 3D printers and that. And so I think that's great, and I just want to say thank you for coming out and talking to us about it. I think we always need to be pushing these kids as far as they can go with these different disciplines, making sure they have the tools they need to be successful at it, and not standing in their way when they think of something creative, giving them the ability to do it. So thanks for coming out.
And next, SAD is here. And they got here so we didn't have to change things too bad. So while while SAD's making their way in here, they have a mock car crash coming up. We do the mock car crash every 2 years. And I just think that as they're coming in, it's critical to remember, we have our positive community norms work, which really focuses on all the awesome choices that our kids and families are making in Forest Lake. And then we have our work with SAD and other groups, and it's a balancing act with us. Our SAD group does a great job building those bridges between all of those different groups, and they help sponsor that mock car crash. So with that, I'm going to hand it off to which one? Named, where you're going to school, what your plans are, and then we'll do the discussion.
Hi guys, thank you for having us here today. I'm Rio. I am going to be attending UW Stout this next coming fall. Alright, so SAD is a student-led club that focuses on mental health, positive attitude, and encourages students to not make destructive decisions. We have 58 active members with only juniors and seniors. And I'll hand this off to Sophia.
Hi guys, my name's Sophia. I am co-president of SAD, and SAD is just a really great club. I was in it my junior and senior year now, and it's definitely helped me with a lot of leadership skills. We do a lot of different things around the school, so we're each going to tell you a little bit about some of the different things we do. One of the most recent ones, I don't know if any of you know of Pure Vita bracelets, but it's a super popular brand. I am wearing the one that we made right now. These are the suicide prevention colors, and we sold them around the school, got a little bit of profit so we could continue doing things like this, and it's something that the kids around the school really love. We also partnered with MnDOT and did a crosswalk skit, like a video, and it just raises awareness of how to properly use a crosswalk. And it just was very beneficial for students to actually have a visual with people they know on how to use crosswalks properly. So I'm gonna pass this to Alex.
Hello, I'm Alex. I'm kind of in charge of the communications for SAD, but I'm also just a member. So some of the things that SAD is in charge of too is like Caldo said, like the mock car crash. We have a team of 5 to 10 people who made the script, and then we work with them to make shirts for it and just kind of the apparel for the mock car crash. On National Little Debbie Day, we hand out we have 5-gallon buckets of a bunch of Little Debbies, and we write inspirational quotes on them with little pieces of paper just to make their day, positive ones have a good day or be nice to someone today. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to introduce myself, where I'm going. I'm going to ASU for forensic psychology in the coming fall. So, yeah, I'm going to hand it off to Miles.
Hi, I'm Miles. I'm attending NDSU to study business, and this is my first year as a SAD member. So, 2 more things that we do in SAD are the Seatbelt Challenge. The Seatbelt Challenge is a little competition leading up to prom week. So kids just remember to fasten their seatbelts. This is a school-wide thing that you do during lunch. And then another thing we did this year was the pop-up pizza party. The pop-up pizza party, we walked into random classes just to spread the word about SAD and what we do. So yeah. I'll hand out to Reed.
Hi, my name is Reed Olson. I'm going to attend business or go to UMD next fall to study business. 2 of my favorite things from SAD is the anti-vape poster contest. For every freshman Ranger Connect, we give them an opportunity to make the best anti-vape poster they can, and the winner gets a pizza party sponsored by us. We like doing this because it just spreads awareness how bad vaping is for you, even though it's a trend for younger people. We like to set it into their minds when they're coming into high school, so they know it's bad for the future. Another thing I like that we do is the I Promise campaign, which is before prom. We have at lunches we have a big sheet, and people can come sign their name, and it's a contract saying, "I will get home safely from prom." We hand out bracelets and candy and other stuff for doing it, just promote we want to make sure people are making smart choices around prom. It's the end of their high school career. People get a little bit crazier by the end. We want to make sure everyone's safe.
So that's all that we had. So
Any questions?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for all the work you guys do. It's important to us that everybody gets home safe from prom. It's one night that I definitely sleep very little. I'm hoping that it works out well.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yeah,
guys.
well,
Thank you.
All right, we've got Principal Lafitte.
Good evening, board members, community members, and Dr. Massey. On behalf of our community school, we extend a warm welcome to each of you as we gather to share some exciting updates and experiences from our Forest Lake Area Community School and alternative programming. Tonight, we are honored to have two outstanding student representatives, Jordan and Alexis, who will provide valuable insights into their enriching life of our school community. Additionally, we are privileged to have the presence of Kelly McDonald, our dedicated ELA teacher whose dedication has greatly impacted the educational journey of our students. At the heart of our success lies the unwavering dedication and support for our incredible staff members. Within all of our alternative programs across the district, each educator plays a vital role in shaping the minds and future of our students. Their tireless efforts, passion, and commitment to nurturing every learner's potential are the driving force behind our shared progress. Before we dive into the updates from our community school team, I'd like to take a moment to share some exciting news regarding our alternative education options within the Forest Lake Area School District. And I promise it won't be long. Sure. At the core of our educational philosophy lies a deep commitment to inclusivity and personalized learning. We take immense pride in offering a comprehensive range of alternative programs meticulously tailored to meet the diverse learning needs of our K-12 students. From our K-8 summer programming to our 9-12 summer credit recovery program, we recognize the importance of providing opportunities for continuous growth and learning outside the traditional academic school year. These programs not only offer students a chance to catch up on credits, but also provide a nurturing environment where they can thrive academically and personally. Furthermore, our commitment extends beyond just the summer months. We understand that each student's educational journey is unique, which is why we offer programs like the K6 Win Club program and the Middle Level Core program and the 9-12 Credit Recovery program that is held after school. These programs are designed to provide targeted support and enrichment opportunities, ensuring that every student receives their own individualized learning plan to succeed. By offering a diverse array of alternative programs, we aim to create a learning environment where every student feels valued, supported, and inspired to excel. Together, we will continue to innovate and evolve, ensuring that our educational offerings remain responsive to the ever-changing needs of our students and community. I'm thrilled to highlight our newest opportunity, the Independent Study Program. Approved through the Minnesota Department of Education, this program offers yet another option for students to meet their high school requirements and complete graduation. This is a significant addition to our range of offerings within our alternative ed program, and it provides flexibility and support to students who may need an alternative path to success. This program was created specifically for our super senior population. The program approval also includes students who are 16 and older and fit the profile of an independent learner with the support and access to a licensed content area teacher. As we continue to expand and innovate alternative educational offerings, we remain committed to ensuring that each student and every student has the opportunity to thrive and succeed. Thank you for your support in making these programs possible, and I look forward to seeing the positive impact they will have on our students' lives. Now, without further ado, let's hear from our community school team and learn more about the enriching experience they have to share with us this evening.
Hello, my name is Jordan Niles. I'm a junior at the community school. I've been a part of the community school for 3 years now, and I graduate next June. I plan on attending the University of Minnesota Duluth for orthodontics. I'll be highlighting 4 community school positives today. One is working at my own pace. At the community school, we are able to have kids work at their own pace while still meeting the expectations and requirements. This is very helpful, especially not to get overloaded with work and get stressed. It helps keep all my schoolwork organized and manage my time for each assignment. For example, Amy France gave her students 3 full school days to work on an essay, giving each student their own time for to work at their own pace, 2, flexibility and accommodations. If needed, the community school offers other working spaces outside of the classroom if you are anxious, not feeling good, or if you need a different environment. We have conference rooms, a quiet room, and other spaces if students need that. The community school is flexible enough to support those mental health needs. 3, One-on-one. One of the best things about the community school is that we have smaller classes. With these smaller classes, it's an important and efficient way to have the teacher work individually with students. This positive is huge for me because students like me may need a little more explanation or to visually see in front of them and ask questions I may not want to ask in front of the whole class. This positive is one of the main reasons I attend the community school. Number 4, homework and assignments. At the community school, we have higher workloads and less homework. The workloads are manageable as we have in-class time to complete them, and we still meet the criteria and standards in order to graduate. Most times I'm not overwhelmed or stressing out knowing I have amazing teachers who go out of their way to accommodate and listen to their students. This is the other main reason I attend the community school. In conclusion, the community school has shaped me to be a better person and student. I think it's a great school for students who need smaller environments like me in order to succeed and grow. The teachers work close with their students and care immensely for them, which provides a calm, inviting space. The community school has cheered me on and helped me with resources on college and career decisions, and they continue to help me. Kelly Lafine and Glenn Berg have been a huge help in my future. I'd like to thank the teachers and staff at the community school for making it feel so welcoming, and thank you to Kelly Lafine for letting me do this, and the school board for letting me speak. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alexis. I am a junior this year as well, but I've been at the community school since my freshman year. I was switched halfway through, but since then I never left. I think me being here for so long can show how in love I am with the school and staff. I fell behind my freshman year due to heavy workload that I couldn't keep up with and ended up failing a few classes. One of my top priorities then has been to earn back credits that I've lost for those classes so I can graduate on time, and with the option of credit recovery every Tuesday and Thursday after school, I am able to graduate on time now. It was very reassuring to me, and I greatly appreciate the time that my teachers have given to me and the help they provide. They aren't forced to do it, but they do it to benefit their students. Another benefit is the privilege of one-on-one learning with my teachers. For example, Glenn Berg will have conversations with his students as a class. He uses alternative learning strategies to help us understand more in depth about history and social studies. I also appreciate the unique and helpful relationships we have, the ability to create with our teachers. It helps me connect with them and positively impacts the social environment at school, like Kelly McDonald. I am able to sit down with her and have a conversation with her without feeling I am wasting her time. The teachers and staff make me know my feelings and questions are valid. These were my 3 benefits for attending the community school, and I appreciate you all for listening to them.
Hi, like they said, I'm Kelly McDonald. I wasn't nervous until I started seeing my students speak, and then I got a little emotional. So, yeah, this is my 4th year in the Forest Lake School District, and it's my 4th year at the community school. I teach English 9 and English 10 in addition to creative writing, intro to media, and communication theory and practice. I love working at the community school. It's just such a special place in our community for kids to come and find a place where they belong, where they feel seen and heard. And I enjoy being able to combine all my experience in education and my knowledge in teaching in a creative way for the kids to explore learning in a way that works for them. It isn't without challenges, but I enjoy being able to work through and talk students through obstacles because of the relationships we have built. Today I'm going to be talking about a few things that we do in the Intro to Media class, as well as Media Club and my creative writing class. So for our Media Club and Intro to Media class, we create weekly announcements that are pre-recorded of information that students to know for the upcoming week. And each teacher plays the video and advisory. It is mostly the Media Club that I run that handles the announcements. And part of the Intro to Media course, that's part of the school day, includes teaching students about what is newsworthy, how to shoot videos using their phones and iPads, how to write a news script, and how to edit audio and video. Then they have to create a news package that will air as a feature story on the weekly announcements that are played during advisory. The next slide here is an example of a feature story created by junior Evelyn Morse about all the different areas of the Ed Center building. So as you guys know, the community school is only part of that entire building, and many times students are asking us, you know, what goes on in there, what's all that stuff for? So this student thought it was newsworthy information, which I obviously agree with, that a good feature story would be like, what's happening behind all those doors that say, do not enter Flag students.
If you're like me, you've probably wondered at one point what's behind the doors that say no Flag students beyond this point. Or you've wondered why there's a lot of random people walking around the halls. Well, the reason for these is because this building isn't just our school, but also a whole bunch of other programs ranging from preschool to adult learning. In the cafeteria on Sundays, Revive Church puts on weekly services for anyone who shows up. Right next to the cafeteria, there's a door that leads into the Forest Lake Area Community Pool. You can sign up to take swimming lessons. If you walk down the hall by the science rooms, there's a door that leads to the young kids section of the building. Little Rangers Preschool is one of the child programs. It's a school for toddlers aimed at getting them adapted to the school environment so they can seamlessly integrate into kindergarten. If you head upstairs and walk down the hallway, you'll see classrooms on the left side of the school. These classrooms hold instructional coaches. Basically, they're the teachers' teachers, as well as other people who do similar things. This building also offers several different adult programs. There's classes that can help you with basic learning, sewing, sports, art, and yoga. You can even take cooking and music classes. In short, the Forest Lake Education Center is a huge building filled with many programs besides our school. If you want more information regarding anything mentioned, you should ask Colleen down in the office or refer to one of the community education handouts around the school. If you're like me, you've probably wondered at what...
Thank you. Okay, now I'm going to move into my creative writing class from first semester. We actually wrote and published a children's book titled Liam Levels Up. Each student in the class was assigned multiple real-life roles of a publication team, including a sales representative that had to talk to adults in the building about purchasing books, as well as compose emails to send to the parents or guardians at home. The book follows the universal plot diagram for fictional stories, and I will pass that around while I talk a little bit more about that. So I let the students choose what kind of book they wanted to publish, and they actually chose the more difficult task of a fictional children's book where they really had to work together and collaborate, versus a book of poems or like an ABC book that they really could have just created their own couple of pages and it would still fit together. The story is loosely based on one student's younger sibling. They also really wanted to make it a learning experience and send a positive message to younger kids who read or hear the story. They incorporated relevant themes for kids such as video games, Pokemon cards, and social emotional learning in the area of anger management. The main character of the story learns from his older brother how to manage his emotions when he loses an important video game in which he bet his favorite Pokemon card. And it even offers some calming strategies for the intense feelings that that little boy feels. The skills the kids needed to have and use to complete this project include creativity and imagination through crafting, engaging storylines, characters, and illustrations that will resonate with young readers. Writing and editing skills, effective communication skills, project management, organization, time management, the list goes on and on. I could not be more proud of this group of kids that created this book. The thoughtfulness that they put into the planning and the writing of the book, and the desire to give younger kids an important life lesson, it far surpassed any of my expectations. Like, they were so honed in on making it something special and something worthwhile for a younger kid to read. And as you can see, the illustrations are absolutely beautiful. Everyone in this room should be proud of them. I know I am, and they should really be proud of themselves too. And the student participants are up there as well. And it was everybody who was enrolled in that class participated. And that's all I have for you guys. Thank you.
It's always nice to hear about the programs over the community school, and thank you, because obviously you have a big impact on these students. So thank you for that. It's more than a job to you, clearly.
Any other questions?
I would just say I want to just thank you guys for the work you do. It's, you know, we've got, as a district, we talk and we say, oh, every student matters, right? Community school is proof that that's true, right? Because we've got all kinds of students. Some of them have struggles that are really tough, and it's tough for them and their parents. They're trying to work through them, and the community school is like a home for those kids, and it's just really important work. And we want to see every student that's a Ranger make it to graduation, leave our schools prepared for the next step, and that's tough for some kids, and you guys are doing that really hard work of shepherding them through that process, so thank you for that. Yes.
I just want to say that I'm sure the experience of that book writing with that theme, that they just learned so much growth through that whole process. Did they complete that in like a quarter or?
It was a semester-long class. Yeah, I would say total about 8 to 10 weeks we did it.
I think that video we should hang on to for use for district purposes. That was such a great video. I learned things I didn't know, and it's so important to know what's going on, right? So kudos on that video.
Thank you.
So thank you for all you do.
All right.
Thank you for your support and having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, you can pass it around and just return it to Kelly.
Yeah, we did your class. Yep. All right, do we have any positive happenings?
I have a few, thank you. Let's see, so on Friday night, March 22nd, Scamby Elementary had the Art and Academic Fair, which was really fun, kind of a science fair for all of the students, and participation was up over it had been in the previous years, and just really exciting to see all the different variety of all the kids from kindergarten through 6th grade. Everybody can do it. You can do a drawing or, you know, a Lego. Remember Tyson was there as a judge, so that was really fun. And then on March 25th, we had the end of the season wrestling banquet. And I just wanted to say that Coach Joe Kuncher, after 20 years of being the coach, has decided to step down. So I just wanted to, he'll still be in the district as a teacher, but I just wanted to thank him for his 20 years of being a coach. That's really wonderful. And lots of spring sports are going on. I know everybody is busy, lacrosse, softball, all those things. On April 2nd, I'm sure Dr. Massey will talk about this, but I did attend the internet safety session for the parents, so I'm sure maybe you'll speak to that a little bit more, but that was really informative and a great presentation. And then also this past Sunday, there was a wonderful article in the Pioneer Press, the Sunday paper, about the career launch class taught by Mike Miron, and it talked about the youth skills training grant that Forest Lake has received, and how the grants, I think there's only like 60 through the state or something like that, I could be wrong, but the grants are intended to offer meaningful career exposure and paid work experiences for students 16 years of age and older. And there was a great, Mr. Myron was interviewed and Molly Bennett was interviewed, and then a student who who, when she was 16, she could start working at that Rosenbauer where they make the fire trucks. So great article, great young lady, and great press for the high school. So that was super exciting, and I think that concludes my report. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yes, the Scandia Art and Academic Fair lives on. We figured, in talking to parents that I knew that were still there, Vicki Mendoza, it was like the 35th year for that. So it was so fun being a project reviewer. I had lots of solar systems, which is always cool to see, and just amazing what they can do. Also, I went to the Forest Lake, the 88th annual Forest Lake FFA chapter banquet. And you know, this is their big celebration and how they highlight all their work all year. You know, we can go to many basketball games and go to a lot of events, but they have like one culmination, and this is just so excellent to go to if you ever get a chance. And you know, they go through all the career and leadership development results. So after you have the banquet, you go into the auditorium and they all have a speaking part and they all get an award, and it's just a great evening. And I like their quote here: to practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA member should possess. So that's always a wonderful event. Before committee night on the 21st, I went to this, and it was so impressive. And then I came to curriculum and equity, and we were talking about our new standards for art. And this was just amazing to see what they could do with digital and with painting and clay, and it was wonderful. And that's at the Hallberg Center for the Arts up in Wyoming. I had never been there, but it's a great facility up there for art. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Track season is underway, so is the skeet season. It's a bit cold and a bit blustery out there.
And then I would just add one thing. I wanted to thank Member Tyson for going down to the Capitol with Superintendent Massey and advocating on behalf of the district with our legislators. That's critical work that they have a face and somebody telling them directly, hey, we got to fix this inequity. We've got to make sure our buses are paid for. We've got a legislative agenda so thank you for that work.
Thank you. Chair.
All right, reports, workshops and conferences. All right.
Oh, can I report on one thing quickly?
Yes.
I know you got your MSBA District 6 update from me, and we are looking for people to be part of a focus group through MSBA's strategic plan. We are hired a company to work on improving our communication. So anybody on our board or anybody you know wants to be on that focus group, that would be great. Also, I know you got another email, but it's local government official day at the Twins Stadium. So you can go on, click, and get the discounted tickets either on the update I sent or on any of the MSBA things that come out. So that's kind of fun. And that's it. Thank you.
All right. At 9:16, Member Tyson.
Oh, okay, yep. So we met last night, and some of the highlights from our meeting, we had an overview of the Eastview Academy by the principal. That's an ALC that's in the Rice Street area. We also had a grants update, and 916 works with about $7 million in grants, so it was really good to get that breakdown of what they use everything for. Some of them sunset, some of them last for longer, but they basically use their different grants for professional development, mental health services, equity, and it's a variety, and that was really great information. We passed some resolutions. One was on LTFM, so we'll be getting that and what our portion is. The intermediates can't levy, so our business office knows what our portion is, and it's all broken down among all the school districts that are on that board, so then it's totally distributed. We did resolutions for retirements, and there were some spanning from 10 years to 45 years. And we approved contracts and then ended with our board forum. That concludes my report.
Right, thank you. Buildings and grounds, Member Haglund or Peterson?
Well, we talked about the commissioning of the arena. We also talked about the upcoming snow removal, which was something we didn't have a lot of discussion about this year. And And then we had discussion on locker rooms, the need to remodel because they are original equipment for the district or for the high school. And then we talked about the upcoming snowstorm because there's going to be some needs for that. We also discussed boiler number 2 at the high school that is hanging by a thread, but looks like it'll make the end of the year and will get replaced over the summer. And then we had fire marshal inspection where things went very well. And then we also did updated our lead in the water testing at several of the buildings throughout the district.
All right, City of Forest Lake, member Christensen or Tyson?
I was not able to attend the March.
Communications, member Hageland or Peterson?
We went over written communications, the decline that people go through not receiving as many things in print anymore and going over digitally, but the communications department still had quite a few updates that looked really nice for people that do need those coming in to visit, and just talked about how we're going to transition from those and also make them available digitally.
Okay. Then community education, did we have a meeting?
There was no March.
Yeah. Curriculum Instruction Equity Committee, member Abeline or member Tyson?
I can take that as Member Tyson alluded to earlier. We took a deep dive on the new arts program. We went through the K through 6 and then the middle school art experience, talked about a lot of the changes that came into the program with the adjusted day at the elementary level. It was really a really nice look at just the transformation in art in the district.
Okay, thank you. Finance Committee. In Finance Committee, we Jackie Hagel from MMKR came in and she talked about a revenue breakdown, which was very interesting to see it all laid out like that. We talked about the status of the FY24 budget and talked about the adjustment that we're going to have at this meeting and a little bit about teacher retro, a minor issue about teacher retro pay, and then the FY25 budget development. And Policy Committee, member Christensen or Rabeline?
I can take that one as well. So this one, we went through a couple more of the annual required reviews. We looked at hazing, we looked at the anti-bullying policy. Both of those are on for first reading later. We also looked at the vending machines policy and how funds for that are allocated. Again, we'll look at that again later this evening. And then we actually have a proposed discontinuance of a policy as well that we'll dig into later this evening.
All right, thank you. And then staff welfare, I can do that one. We had a calendar, we talked about a calendar adjustment that was a result of the teacher contract. Again, we talked about budget development. And we talked about the restructuring process and timeline, which we'll be talking about later in the meeting. And we talked about aquatics and doing the initial thinking about how we want to make sure that we've got a good pool facility far into the future. And so we started the initial kind of discussion about how we want to address those issues. Superintendent's report, Dr. Massey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Given the long agenda, I'll try to be brief. But first, let me start by thanking Principal Lefine, Principal Caldwell. We saw their programs on full display tonight. Those programs, you know, don't bring those exciting programs to the board without exceptional leadership on Principal Caldwell and Principal Lefine's case. Amazing work with amazing staff, providing incredible opportunities for kids. You know that there are kids who get out of bed in the morning to go to chemistry and algebra and biology. But what gets kids out of bed more than anything is making pinball machines, making cabinets, making videos, making real books, and the list goes on to all the amazing things. And quite frankly, you can't do what we saw in industrial tech without algebra and algebra 2 and geometry, if not trigonometry and calculus. The application of those academic skills in those areas is really exciting for the district to see the cross-disciplinary work happening there. So excellent work, and thank you for your presentations. And the first item I want to just quickly share about is, and I shared this in my weekend update, is the huge jump we saw with graduation rate. And I would tie the graduation rate improvements to the relevance that kids see in school. When they can come to school and see the relevance of what's happening in school and be excited about what's happening day to day in school and see the connection to what happens after they graduate. It creates purpose and meaning for coming to school every day and doing the great work that kids do. We saw over a 5% jump in our graduation rate. We now graduate 92% of our kids in 4 years, with another 4% who graduate in the following year. So almost every student that comes to us graduates. That is our mission, that is our purpose, and we are excelling at that, and it's super exciting. The state graduation rate, by the way, is 83%, and that rate actually dropped from the previous year. So a lot to be proud of there. Member Christensen mentioned the presentation we had this week with the BCA, Taylor Lambrecht, and Washington County Sheriff's Office, Paul Stenglin, on sextortion. And the activity that kids are involved with or exposed to or vulnerable to be taken advantage of through social media and the apps and activity that happens on phones, the educational opportunity that we are able to provide for parents, and soon to be bringing to students as well. We need to continue to keep our parents aware of the vulnerabilities out there and be a resource for parents in that way. So we're grateful for the presentation by the BCA in Washington County. Please mark your calendar, and you'll see this in my updates. The Bethel concert, Friday, April, write it down, that Friday 16th, 17th, whatever that Friday is. There it is, 19th, 7:30 p.m. at Bethel University at Benson Great Hall. I strongly encourage you to clear your schedule, and we'll get you a ticket. Bring a +1 and take in some phenomenal music. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you. All right, do we have any items we'd like pulled 7.1 through 7.4 in the consent agenda? If not, do we have a motion to approve 7.1 through 7.4?
Second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Consent agenda is approved.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
May I move for a 5-minute recess?
Yes.
Second.
Any discussion? Not all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. 8.1, donations.
Yes. Reconvene.
Clerk, please take a roll.
Member Tyson.
Here.
Member Christensen is here. Member Corcoran. Here. Member Hagelin.
Here.
Member Peterson.
Here.
Member Rayfield.
Here.
Member Reveling.
Here.
All here.
All right, great. All right, 8.1, donations. Anybody who would like to read the donations? I can.
Oh, I got it.
Jeff's on it. Jeff's on it.
All right. We had a donation, $9,153.07 from the Wrestling Booster Club. It was a payment for Coach 23-24 wrestling season. We had a donation of $3,174.11 from the Forest Lake Gymnastics Booster Club, payment for coaches for the 23-24 season. $210 donation, Combs Investing, Forest Lake Marching Band, nice. We had a $40 donation from Jill Krautkramer, busing for Feed My Starving Children field trip. We had a $30 donation from Sam and Sarah Waddle for the Forest Lake Marching Band. We had a $20 donation from Katie Hunt for busing for Feed My Starving Children field trip. $20 donation from Jill McConnell, again for busing for Feed My Starving Children. $20 donation from CAF America, Lionel Lakes Elementary General Use. We had goods donated by Steve Kennedy to the Forest Lake Music Department. It was a Yamaha guitar valued at $750. We had goods donated from Nathan Chapman for the high school, Mead ETX 90 plus accessories for student use at the high school observatory. Total on this side is $12,667.18. We also had donations for the Forest Lake Ranger Space Camp. $1,000 donation from James Shens and Miriam Simmons. We had a $500 donation from the Coon Lake Community and Senior Center. We had a $500 donation from Olson Sewer Service and Excavating Service. $500 donation for the American Legion Auxiliary Unit 2225. We had a $200 donation from Renee Maroy. We had a $200 donation from Minnesota Robotics. $100 donation from Mary Pease, $100 donation from Michael. I'm gonna do terrible here, Michael, and I apologize. Ehaz, $100 donation from Luann Radke, a $50 donation from Kevin and Michelle Verzel, a $50 donation from Rick and Maureen Weethorn, and a $25 donation from Barbara Lesky. Total this side $3,325. For a total of $15,992.18, and I so move we accept.
Discussion?
I'd like to thank the community and another great month, great donations, and thank you, Member Peterson, for picking that page up and reading it off to us rather than.
It was a bit of a struggle tonight.
Yes, very good job.
I want to say thank you for all the donations to the space camp. It's nice to see that those students getting that opportunity. So.
Yeah.
And they leave for Huntsville next month.
Yeah.
That went fast.
All right, if there's no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, agenda item 8.3, Forest Lake staff retirement notices. Barbara Kiesau, long hour cook helper at Forest Lake Area Middle School, 22 years of service. And Sharon Wilson, substitute calling system office assistant, 4, with 31 years of service, and they're both retiring. We'd like to wish them their best, and with that, I'd like to move to accept their retirements. Second.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, 8.3, teaching and learning redesign. Dr. Maskey. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In January, the administration began the work of preparing the 2025 school year budget. This work includes an analysis of enrollment, expected revenue from the state, and staffing needs across our 10 schools and programs. This budget development work also provides the opportunity to look at all facets of the district. In light of the need to right-size the district's budget for this upcoming school year, we believe there's also an opportunity to reshape and re-envision positions in the teaching and learning department, while still remaining strong in our effort to lead and support the core mission of the school district, that being the work of teaching and learning. Before I turn the presentation over to Director Jacobson, let me be clear that the current structure of our teaching and learning program and department and the staff members serving in different roles and capacities in this department have done amazing work over the last number of years. As you will see in just a moment, this proposal will allow us to continue the exceptional work currently taking place in the department while doing so in a more lean way. The proposed redesign, we believe, will allow the district to meet the teaching and learning needs we face today and that we will face in the years to come. Our goal is to serve the mission of the school district in a dynamic and powerful way. So as we get into the information here and the shift and redesign, I would ask that you look at this through the lens of reshaping for continued success. Director Jacobson.
Thank you, Dr. Massey, Chair Raphael, members of the board. As Dr. Massey said a moment ago, this is the time of year, each year, where we cast our vision forward and we begin to build our staffing model for the upcoming year, starting July 1. And in teaching and learning, this was a time for us to do that as well, as we do so in a way that we can stay within our means and with our overall budget parameters. We went through a process within teaching and learning that we knew that we had for a number of years, as alluded to a moment ago, a group of people who have done and continue to do amazing work for our district. We have some things emerging and coming into our system that we knew that we needed to planfully prepare for, in addition to doing so a little bit leaner than we have in the past, as it pertains to staffing. Some of the things that we see coming into our system very soon, are currently big in our system, are shifts in the science standards and science expectations being placed upon Minnesota school districts. I think I've shared a number of times with you around this table. The 2019 standards in science are causing a real paradigm shift in how students experience their learning in science. From a phenomena-based approach through inquiry-based lessons, and making sure that we had, within teaching and learning, a system built toward preparing our staff for that. Aligning standards to units of instruction, focusing or leveraging that particular approach to learning, and then supporting our staff with professional development so that they feel really comfortable going into those units. We know that we've got new math standards going to be released here not too far in the distant future. And then what we will need to do is make sure that as a team or as a system, we're poised to lead our system through those math standards instructional review. I think all of us have noticed that in 2023, the spring legislative session, the READ Act came out, and some really big pieces there related to not only professional development, screening, and curriculum, but there's a lot of coordination that goes along with that. We needed to make sure that our team was structured in a way that we could meet that need and continue the literacy work that was already underway in all parts of our school district, including the content area and disciplinary literacy work happening at the secondary system. Mentioning the secondary system, we have a secondary instructional framework that staff put together over the last couple of years, and we are stepping into that instructional framework this year with the staff development that we have done at the 3 secondary buildings. We want to make sure that we have a teaching and learning team and a structure that really meets that. We've got some emerging projects that we have coming up through our system through conversations with teachers, as well as work that we need to have on our radar regarding a strategic plan, all things that we needed to keep in mind as we went through this restructure. And then we also wanted to find new ways or new pathways to find synergy between those people within teaching and learning that were leading instructional review, and then also how often we could get them into classrooms working alongside teachers. So a person in one of these roles might be in the classroom, modeling lessons, giving feedback, working with PLCs in the early parts of the week, and then maybe on Thursday that week or Friday, they're working with teams from that same content area, digging through standards and leading instructional review. We thought that there would be some really, really big value there in doing it that way. Again, all through the lens of, we've got a great program right now, we've got a great team right now, how might we just think about doing this differently? Here's a picture of our team right now, not their faces, but their titles. This is a teaching and learning team, and if you are tracking that, we were able to put into place with the passage of the 2018 referendum. That brought new resources into our school district. My predecessor was able to work with Dr. Massey and other members of the teaching and learning team at that time to build up what you see there, to the point where we went from, I think at the time, 2 to 4 literacy coaches. We were able to add in a couple of K-12 math coaches, 2 secondary coaches across our 3 secondary buildings, and then 2 curriculum coordinators that lead instructional review. That's their primary responsibility now, as well as that referendum brought in academic support specialists at each of our 7 elementary sites that work with teachers and work with kids around interventions or enrichment when the data suggests that that's a need. This has served us well over the past 6 years, serves us well today. It's gotten instructional review up and off the ground, and now we want to continue to keep moving forward in that sort of process. So in our next slide, what we're going to show you is what our team is going to look like next year. What we will have is 1 fewer administrative level position. Going forward, we're going to have an elementary teaching and learning coordinator. Katie Lorenz is in that role primarily today, and she'll be in that role as an elementary teaching and learning coordinator next year. We will have a secondary teaching and learning coordinator. Both of them will take on a lot of the assessment work, assessment and data work that our assessment coordinator that you don't see up there anymore. That position is going to be moving out of our system, and that work's going to be folded into our other roles. We feel like that's a good way to do that, combine the data with the teaching and learning piece. We see ourselves having 2 K-12 literacy coach and special project coordinators. These people will be supporting teachers in our K-12 system on embedding literacy best practices into their instruction, supporting them through coaching and modeling, and they'll be leading some instructional review pieces, particularly in literacy, maybe in social studies as well. We would have 2 math coaches and special project coordinators. Again, very similar to the way our 2 math coaches operate now. They work throughout their district and getting into classrooms, leading staff development, working shoulder to shoulder with teachers on building out their pedagogy and their skills and helping kids learn and understand math at a deeper level. And they will also be leading some instructional review. New to our system is 2 K-12 science and STEM coaches. Again, I think you heard me say a moment ago that we've got a lot of really important science work underway currently, and we need to continue to support that through review and through coaching. And then we have a family and student support coordinator position. That is somebody who works hand in hand with families when they are in difficult situation, whether it be housing needs, transportation needs, food needs. They can get them connected with resources in our local community or in the county, help bridge that contact. We would see this person also helping our teachers continue to work on and build their skills in teaching through differences in background and demographic and culture. And so that they would be also on the teaching and learning end of things, helping deliver design professional development that we can deliver in each of our buildings. All of those green positions, by the way, are what we call teachers on special assignments. So those would be teacher contract positions. We're going to we'd like to maintain our 7 academic support specialists. Again, these are really integral in our buildings to supporting students when they need more time, or supporting students and their grade level teachers when they're ready for extension. We're going to continue to keep those in place because we just know that needs to continue. And then what you'll see in the bottom left is a new position that doesn't currently exist. And it is an early childhood instructional coach. We have a great early childhood program currently, but we want to continue to make sure that families in our communities that choose our early childhood programs, their children really continue to get the best possible instruction that they possibly can. So we're going to add that position in. That is a position that's 100% funded out of community education. So that would be self-funded through that program. That would be the way that our department would look next year and then over the next couple of years. And pending your approval, we would recommend, administration would recommend approval on this.
All right, so if anybody has any questions, I'll ask some questions, then we'll put a motion on the table, and then we'll debate. Any questions?
I just want to say I really appreciate the early childhood instructional coach being added so that we're having some continuity through that early childhood as they're entering school. Coordinating together really will help pull that program and make sure that we're keeping up with what we're doing when they hit kindergarten and first grade.
I'd like to echo Member Peterson's comments on that. I think it's a critical position moving forward and will help the transition there. The other thing I want to give you guys credit for when you put this plan together is I don't see any student-facing positions affected by this change. And I think that's great. It's a testament to the importance of the academic support specialist. And minimal impact to teacher roles, but really, from what I understand, the impact of the teachers on special assignment is more a change in delivery, and it's actually going to be an improvement for the professional development. And I really appreciated that aspect of it as well. I feel like there's a lot of wins here for everybody involved. It's very thoughtful.
I have a question about, so we're kind of rearranging our assessment a little bit. Can you kind of talk about how you envision assessment working from the classroom all the way to the district level, to the board level, and how that's all going to kind of work together now?
Yeah.
It's kind of a big question, but yeah.
Yeah. So currently, we have a really good assessment coordinator who does a lot of that work for us. What we see now is with some of the new curricula that we're purchasing, they come with assessment modules and dashboards that really make that process of harvesting and organizing data in formats that you can easily make quick sense of at the teacher level, at the building level, at this level. That data can be looked at multiple stages. And so we would see us continuing to, when we buy curriculum, you had mentioned like local assessments, looking for features like that would be of interest to us. We continue to be a PLC school district. So finding ways that we can, within our PLCs, bring data up and make sure that it's easily accessible to teachers, and then at the same time looking for ways to make sure that principals are working with teachers around that. We will continue to use our FAST assessments. As a matter of fact, that's a new expectation through legislation anyways, and we have done that for years, and we will continue to do that and bring it to the board. That and MCA did it as we see the need, and report out where we're doing well and where we've got opportunities to continue to go further. Our curriculum coordinators currently, Brad and Katie, are really adept at doing this. They've worked alongside our current data and assessment person for a number of years, and there's been a lot of learning that's gone along with that. They have been able to present data to broad groups of people in the past, and I think that they're in a position to really carry that baton.
Thank you. And we certainly don't want to understate the critical importance of data metrics and understanding how our kids are performing and being able to be nimble and responsive when student learning needs demand that we shift what we're doing to meet the learning needs of kids. And hence the title of the presentation, Reshaping. 20 some years ago when the position was initially created, accessing student performance data was pulling data out of encrypted format, and it was uninterpretable for the classroom teacher and largely administrators. That has changed dramatically over the years, where data through dashboards is presented in a format that is easily understood and manipulated and put into practice at the building and classroom level. So that's part of that reshaping and shifting that we see today and moving into tomorrow.
So this is an excellent chart, and even though it looks more simplistic, it's much more defined. And I really like having the science in there as part of, I mean, that just makes perfect sense. And I agree so wholeheartedly with the early childhood instructional coach, just being, that's a critical eye on what's best practiced at that age for early education. But could you answer or just kind of talk a little bit more about the family and student support coordinator, what that looks like?
Yeah, so that would be somebody who would be working hand in hand with building counselors and with building deans, in some cases the principal, when a family comes to them and they are in a difficult situation, that this person would be often a go-to in either building the capacity of that building level staff member to get that family quickly attached to resources in their area, whether that be Columbus or Forest Lake Broader, or whether that be Anoka or any one of our 3 counties, that they would be kind of serving in that role. They would also have a big time teaching and learning end of things, looking at, again, how are we finding ways to teach students that don't always come from backgrounds the same as ours. And we have to understand people's background, their culture, and leverage that when trying to convey, here's what I'm thinking, or here's a new idea to what might be already familiar to you. And they will be a big part of that as well. I could see that person working hand in hand with some of our immersion teachers in our immersion department, and really continuing to make sure that we have an immersion program that our teachers really continue to feel great about. There would be a number of things like that. They would interface a lot with our equity steering team and our affinity groups that we have at the secondary level, making sure that they feel like they're in a good place, that we have a group for everybody, those sorts of things.
Thank you.
All right, with that, do we have a motion to approve the redesign of the teaching and learning department?
So moved.
Second.
Further discussion? I just want to thank you for your work, Director Jacobson.
Wow.
This has been a real evolution of our district. I mean, I'm old and I've been here a while, and so I've watched this, the importance of the assessments, and not from a cold clinical way, in a way of looking at where we're doing well, where we're falling behind, and applying that to helping every student do as well as they can, right? It's, on one hand, it could be clinical, but it's not. It's about improving the lives of kids and you know, through their education. So I really appreciate that we looked at this as a redesign, but it's a redesign that builds on the work that we've done, the work you've done at the junior high and the high school and all through the district, and the work that's happened over the last 4 years. We've taken that, we've learned from it, and you know, it's so important as a district that academics is primary in our mission. So, yeah. Any other comments, questions, concerns? If not, Member Clerk, could you please take a roll call?
Member Rubberline?
Aye.
Member Tyson? Aye. Member Christensen votes aye. Member Corcoran?
Aye.
Member Hagelin?
Aye.
Member Peterson?
Aye.
Member Rayfield?
Aye.
All ayes.
Okay, motion's approved. All right. Hang on. 4, budget adjustment of right sizing. Dr. Massey, Superintendent Massey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As I mentioned earlier, our administrative team has been working since January, assessing state resources, budgetary needs, staffing needs, and also understanding the need as we analyze state revenues, local revenues, federal revenues, that there's a need to right-size and adjust operational costs within the district. I would point to, and again, acknowledge the successful referendum we had in 2018 and the resources that provides on an ongoing basis. We are entering year 7 of the 8-year levy. $987 today, I think you would agree, doesn't have the same purchasing power as it did in 2018-19. So there's a need to adjust and right size there as well. We know that we have fewer students. I would point out that fewer students is a demographic phenomena in our district. As I analyze enrollment at our local charter schools, St. Peter's, homeschooling, students going to neighboring district, that number has remained relatively stable over the last many years. So it's not that there are a greater number of our kids going to other schools, but there are just fewer kids living in our district. You've heard me say before that there are more 65-year-olds in the state and in the nation than there are school-age kids. That's a phenomena happening across the board. So we anticipate, and it bears out, give or take, a number of students, 100 students on average each year. You know, we're largely funded on a per pupil basis, and with fewer students, it's less revenue, and we need to adjust and right-size operations to account for that. We absolutely, as Director Jacobson pointed out and I pointed out earlier, need to do this work with an eye toward today and tomorrow and being relevant, vibrant, dynamic, and successful as a district. So it's not a simple exercise of what can we cut and developing a list and hitting the number. Doing a deep analysis of how can we sustain the critical work that we're doing in the midst of the need to right-size the district operation. As a way to further build context, I would again point out this chart. You've seen this chart before. The orange bar across this chart represents current per pupil funding on the far right. You can see that that has increased over time. On the far left is 2003, so 20 years ago. And you can see that those lines were at a similar point 20 years ago. Had the state 20 years ago made the decision to simply increase per pupil funding based on inflated cost, inflation, we would see revenue coming into the district that follows that blue line across that chart. That is $1,356 more per pupil today than we currently receive as identified on that orange bar. That's $8.1 million of revenue that we don't have coming into the district because of how the state funds education. Yes, there's been an increase in special education funding, EL funding, other categorical funding, but not nearly to the magnitude of $8.1 million. This next chart shows where Forest Lake Schools is at with respect to voter-approved operating levy. The blue bar represents where we were at in relation to comparison districts with Anoka, Cambridge, Chisago, Centennial, North Branch on the left, White Bear Lake, South Washington County, and Stillwater to the right. Fortunately, with the 2018 referendum, we are in the middle of the pack. Without that, we would be on the far left. So we're grateful for that commitment from this community. The districts to the right, Stillwater, South Wash, White Bear Lake, are bringing in anywhere from 2/3 to a full double of what we are bringing in on a per pupil basis. Again, it's there to provide context for the revenues that we have flowing into the district. So with that, and over the last number of years, administration has identified a way in which we can hit a target of reducing $1.25 million from the overall operational budget in a right-sizing capacity. I want to walk you through this list, and that will be my recommendation for you to approve here now. The first bullet there is the reductions captured through the reshaping of teaching and learning, the presentation that was just provided by Director Jacobson and that you just approved. The overall magnitude of that reduction reduces overall operation at the level of $477,000. And we can come back to this. I have FTE, the teaching positions. If we were not able to identify any of these other items, we'd be cutting 25 teaching positions. Not sustainable, not a realistic path forward. Fortunately, with these other items, the reduction is 5.8 FTE across kindergarten through 12th grade across our 10 schools. We would be looking to eliminate the secondary district department chairs, the elimination of 1.5 custodial positions. We currently have 3 custodial positions that are unfilled, so we'd be looking to reduce 1.5 custodial positions and a little bit of supply in that department. Reduction of activities budget and increased fees. Let me point out here the detail there. We'd be looking to increase the fees by way of increasing the weekly fee that generates the total fee for athletics. We charge and base fees based on the number of weeks of the sport. Currently, that's a $20 weekly cost. Summed over the number of weeks of the sport creates the fee for that sport for that season. We'd be looking to go from $20 to $22. We have not raised athletic fees in over 5 years. We all understand that coaches cost more, fees cost more referees cost more. That is a relatively small increase. We understand it will have an effect on families. We understand that. But given the overall increase in cost, we feel that that is a fair adjustment. We'd also, in a commensurate way, look to increase the family cap by $140 and increase clubs and activities by $10 per activity. So we're consistent across all those different activities and athletics. Additionally, we'd be looking to reduce district instructional supplies and capital supplies. Shift 25% of our behavior intervention specialists to federal funds. In a sense, that's shifting general fund costs to federal costs. That's another way in which we can get to a $1.25 million. There's not an elimination of those positions or that resource for family or for students, but a shifting of cost and a relief of 25% of that cost on the general fund. We'd be looking to retain our 3 school resource officers. We think and believe at this point that that's a really important position for us and a necessary position. One of those 3 positions is a 12-month position. We'd be looking to reduce that position from 12 months to 9 months, and essentially, given the less demand of school resource officers in summer school that we see on an ongoing basis for summer school, we'd rely on, if we needed a resource, a police officer for summer school, we'd simply call the department and get a patrol officer to assist during that time. I would point out there that your approval tonight would indicate our approval. The city council is still having that discussion. They hold the contract with us. I'll be presenting at the city council, if approved here, on 2 Mondays from now, the 16th or 15th, whatever date that is. Additionally, we'd be looking to reduce the high school administrative office position, and then also the reduction of 1 building technology specialist. Actually, that position is currently open. We haven't filled that position, and we would not fill that position moving forward. That is not impacting the technology support that maintains our district switches and networks, and infrastructure, that's building level technology support. Those items in total would represent $1.25 million in right sizing for the district operational budget. And administration would recommend your approval.
All right, do I have a motion to accept the board's list of reduction items? I mean, do we have a motion to accept the administration's list of reduction items?
To approve, I think,
Second. We have second. Who was the second? Okay. Discussion?
Yeah, I'll make some comments here. Obviously, none of this is easy work. It's not fun being in a declining enrollment district when you got to make these choices, but a lot of us had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Massey and some of the other staff to get a lot more detail than we even saw tonight. So a couple of things that really stood out to me, and I really appreciate, and I'm sure others on the board here do as well, is that we targeted positions that have been open, and positions that have been open for some time for reduction, and I think that's important. We're not impacting staff, not impacting families. Secondly, a lot of the other positions that have been identified here, we'll be able to absorb through attrition, so we won't be talking about layoffs or letting people go. And I appreciate that a great deal as well. Some of these other changes that we have in place, it just makes sense. As we continue to reduce in size and overall enrollment, I think it does make sense to restructure and look at different ways of delivering the same services. So with these recommendations, I'm confident that we'll have the same great delivery. We'll be able to continue to improve the academics for the students that we do have in the district. And I think that was the primary lens I looked at these changes through, is what are we losing? And I think the title of this is really well done. We're not really losing, we're just reshaping or reimagining how we're delivering these services, and I think that's a critical piece.
Yeah, I have a few comments I have. I agree with Member Rebeline. I mean, it's not fun to be sitting in this position, and I appreciate very much Director Jacobson's reshaping of his department and kind of leading the way there. And I do understand that these are real cuts and they're affecting real people, and it could be life-changing for them and their families. So I just want to acknowledge that. But I am grateful that sort of quote-unquote the pain is sort of spread around, and it's not all borne on the backs of our teachers. So I appreciate, again, Director Jacobson's sort of leading the way there. I appreciate some of these other reductions, thinking a little bit outside of the box, decreasing the SRO position to 9 months if the City Council approves that. I also appreciate very much that we're not changing the behavior support, the BIS positions. They are crucial in our elementary schools. I see it every day there, and they back up the teachers and give kids that need a break, kids that are having a difficult time, help them to get out of the classroom, take a break, sort of reset. So those are really important positions, and I think that says a lot about who we are as a district and that we want to support our teachers. So I appreciate those very much, so thank you.
No other comments? Member Cook, please take a roll call.
Yes. Sorry, where did I, oh, there it is. Member Rayfield.
Aye.
Member Ebeline.
Aye.
Member Tyson.
Aye.
Member Christensen votes aye. Member Corcoran.
Aye.
Member Hagelin.
Aye.
Member Peterson.
Aye.
All ayes.
All right. 8.5, adopt resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of probationary teachers. Superintendent?
Each of you have a list in your packet of those teachers that have been identified for non-renewal. And I would ask the chair to call for a movement to move this item for approval.
And just a reminder that we're not discussing any of the names, but with that, do we have a motion to adopt a resolution relating to the termination and non-renewal of probationary teachers?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I just want to thank all the teachers that are on this list that did work for us this year and the work they did perform, and I wish them the best of luck. This is one of the worst things that we get to do as a board, and I know this impacts real people every day. So,
Thank you, well said. Any other discussion?
No, I think Member Peters said it all. Thank you.
If there's no further discussion, Member Clerk, please take a roll call.
Member Peterson?
Aye.
Member Rayfield?
Aye.
Member Ebeline?
Aye.
Member Tyson?
Aye.
Member Christensen votes aye. Member Corcoran?
Aye.
Member Hageman?
Aye.
All ayes.
All right, motion approved. 8.6, adopt resolution relating to the non-renewal for the portion of a teacher's 2023-2024 assignment for which the teacher does not hold continuing contract status. Superintendent?
Yeah, let me explain. So teachers earn continuing contract status, tenure, if you will, for a position. And periodically, a less than full-time position might be extended for one purpose or another. Maybe enrollment goes up and you need to teach another section. A specialist is typically where this takes place, a ed teacher, music teacher, media, innovation, art, or for a subbing purpose when we were adding substitutes during COVID. And then those are probationary extensions to a 10-year contract at less than full-time. So this motion is to move a teacher back to their 10-year position, eliminating the probationary extension or the probationary extension. And the person impacted by this action is in your packet as well. Administration would recommend to approve.
All right, do we have a motion to approve?
Move to approve 8.6. Second.
Any discussion? If there's no discussion, Member Clerk, please take a roll call.
Yes, Member Hageman?
Aye.
Member Peterson?
Aye.
Member Rayfield?
Aye.
Member Ebeline?
Aye.
Member Tyson?
Aye.
Member Christensen votes aye. Member Corcoran?
Aye.
All ayes.
Keeping our clerk busy tonight.
Yes.
All right, 8.7, Forest Lake Area Schools Day Treatment Program. Superintendent?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. You had a lengthy presentation with Campus Health and Director Wilson last week on our proposal to bring this, I think, very necessary and critical program to our district. So we're here to provide a brief overview again of what that program would entail and then stand for any questions.
All right, well, thank you, members of the board. Coming back a month ago, I was here with Campus Health to describe and present to you what the possibility of a Forest Lake Day treatment would look like. So just want to give you a couple reminders of what the overview was, in that we would be looking for a program that would support 7 to 8 of our own district students, where they would receive their mental health therapy as well as their school programming within the Forest Lake School District. It would be supported by Canvas Health, and they would utilize their mental health therapist and a skills worker, and then Forest Lake Schools we would support with one teacher as well as a general education paraprofessional. Looking at this model and our work with Canvas Health is that it would be knowing the different pots of money, that it would be a cost neutral program, and it was great to be able to present tonight after following the community school. This program would be a part of the education center supported by the community school, 9-12 with the ability to move to 7th and 8th graders as needed once the program is up and running. So like I said, it would be at the community school. We do have a space identified and have been working with Canvas Health to make sure that the mental health needs would also be met within that space. The other benefit is it does give us the opportunity to not bus our students all over. Our students would receive this program, wouldn't have to be on the bus for 45 minutes to an hour one way, maybe even longer depending. They would stay right here in our own community where they would have access to the community school or the high school and ease their transition back into the high school. So like I said, it's 7 to 8 students at one time, but that would be multiple students throughout the school year. So with that summary, administration recommends for you to approve the program along with the staffing of 1 teacher and 1 general education paraprofessional to support the program. And I'd open up to any further questions that you may have.
Go ahead.
Well, I missed your presentation. I'm sorry about that. I was on vacation. It's a wonderful program. When I read that, I was very excited. And how are the students chosen, or how does the process? I know you probably went over all that, but you said 7 to 8 per, like, is it a semester? I mean, kind of, does this run on their ability to get back into the mainstream? Or
Yeah, so students would be identified by their high school deans or counselors as having some form of a need. And then the referral would be made to Canvas Health. So essentially it is a therapeutic program, and we support it educationally. So the Canvas Health has specific criteria that they need to meet medically. Students would have to meet a DSM-4 diagnosis, be identified, and then if the student is identified as meeting that level of support, then we educationally provide them their education. So a student may come in and it may be a 6 to 8 week, it may be 2 semesters, or a full school year. So it just depends on the students and where their needs and how their needs are going to be met through the mental health component. We have students transitioning in and out of the district continuously right now, so they may be in their mental health program and they may come for 1 class period a day, growing to 2, growing to 3. Some of the other programs for day treatment are half-day programs, so they go to their mental health day treatment for the day, or for a half day, and then they bus back to us for the other half of their day for educational component, which is very hard for students as they go back and forth. So that's why it's not 7 or 8 for the year, and the number is variable, depending on the process.
It's a wonderful program, and I'm so glad that we get to get it in our schools. Well, we need it, so thank you.
I have a question. Would there have to be any rework on the facilities as well?
No, we have to do some of the technology pieces to make sure that we are setting up a classroom, but the space that we've identified does not need an extensive amount.
Okay. Any further questions? Oh.
So is it on in the background that this could eventually be 7, 8, or
Yes.
middle school, correct?
Yeah, so we wanted to start with Canvas Health. They have this program in District 622 at a high success rate. We talked about starting with 9th through 12th graders, making sure that the program is up and running very well. And then if students are identified as 7th and 8th grade, it definitely can meet those needs as well. But we want to start with the focus to make sure we're up and running, doing it well, and then add 7th.
So that piece is still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just had a question, and I think you spoke about this last time, but the teacher and the para, are they someone that we already have and they're kind of sliding over into a different position, or will those be new hires, or?
So we do have a teacher that is identified that is interested, and so that we think would be a good match. The paraprofessional has not been identified.
Any further questions? Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question maybe for Dr. Massey here. Through the right sizing, we just approved the reduction. Is this an opportunity to retain another individual, since this funding source is a little bit different than the right sizing? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one added position that is going to be in a cost-neutral funded way through this program. And that person would have a job anyway in our system, but it eliminates the need to reduce elsewhere to absorb that person or to retain that person in that position. So ultimately, yes, it's an added position within our district and less reduction as a result.
Good. I see that as an added benefit on top of the added benefit of making it more convenient and easier for students to transition in and out of the program and have a local service. I know I had a lot of questions last month. I appreciate all the answers I got over the last month here as I work my mind around the program. So thank you.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve the Forsyth Area Schools Day Treatment Program in collaboration with Canvas Health with 1 FTE teaching staff and 1 paraprofessional staff.
Second.
Any further discussion? Yes.
I just want to thank you for all the work in making this come to fruition. Very exciting to see our students be kept within our district and to have them be a greater part of the community through their, opportunity to stay within classrooms here. So I think it's great. I can't wait to see it expand.
I just want to add, Kelly, thank you for all your work on this, as well as the part that Canvas helped it to put it together. And there's so many facets that are beneficial to this for our students, and that's who we care deeply about. And just the fact that they can integrate back into their regular classroom, that they're not being shuffled around. I mean, the list is long. And I really appreciate the connection with Canvas Health. They're like pillar, the gold standard. So it's just really so wonderful to see this. So thanks for all your work.
They're great partners.
And I would just say one thing I like about it is that it's good for students, but it's also very good for parents. If you're struggling with some of these issues and then all of a sudden your child is going off 20 miles or 30 miles away during the day, you're not as familiar with it, you know your school, you know the people, you know who to talk to. I think it's going to be nice for parents. So, any further discussion? No further discussion. Member Clerk, please take a roll call.
Member Corcoran? Aye. Member Hageland?
Aye.
Member Peterson?
Aye.
Member Rayfield?
Aye.
Member Ebeline?
Aye.
Member Tyson?
Aye.
Member Christensen votes aye, all ayes.
Motion's approved. 8.8, public and private personal data policy enforcements.
The administration is going to be asking your approval of the next several policies. The purpose of this policy is to provide guidance to school district employees as to the data the school district collects and maintains regarding its employees, volunteers, independent contractors, and personnel. I would point you to the addition of additional identified data that would be considered private on page 6. With that addition to the policy, administration would recommend your approval.
All right, do you have a motion to approve 8.8?
Second.
Any discussion? If there's no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's approved. 9, use of student records policy 505.
The purpose of this policy is to provide protection and privacy of student records. Policy committee, as they do with all these policies, spends a lot of time working their way through these policies, comparing these policies with recommended updates from MSBA and other state and federal agencies. You'll see additional directory information identified on page 1. The military exclusion identified on page 2. Legitimate educational interest further defined on page 3. Personally identifiable data with respect to students, some additional language there on page 4. And then lastly, additional language with the disclosure of confidential records on page 12. And administration would recommend your approval.
All right.
Move to approve 8.9.
Second.
Any further discussion? If no further discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. 8.10, crisis management policy 538.
So this policy is to recognize the district's responsibility to provide a safe and secure environment for students, staff, parents, volunteers, community members, and visitors, and to ensure the district's preparedness in coordinating protective actions prior to, during, and after any type of emergency or potential crisis situation in the school district. One change or addition is recommended to the policy. You'll see that on the first page, and that is that the plans would be provided to individuals who need to know. Administration recommends your approval.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion? No discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion's approved. 8.11, award bid phase 1 of HVAC work at Forest Lake Area High School. Director Ember?
Thank you very much. Back in February, I was here and got permission to bid the phase 1 of our big high school HVAC project. The bids came in on March 26th and we were able to open them. Our anticipated cost for this area work scope was around $5 million. And the confirmed bids that we got so far are about $3.6 million. So the big sway there, when you think, wow, that's a good thing, was the boilers. So we know that there's a lot of competition in the market right now. And so the question was, were we going to be able to get in with one of the companies that works a lot with schools and has the staffing available to do it? And we were able to do that. So CLAM has been in several of our surrounding districts, done great work. And so we're excited that they were able to bid on us at that price. There were 3 scopes of work that were not included yet in what we're awarding tonight. And the reason for that is because one of the bidders did a combined work scope with those 3 compared to individually doing it, which was the requirement of the bid. So we're still working through that process with that bidder and making sure that we're able to do that. So that will be coming at a future meeting. So overall, those anticipated costs would be around $170,000. So again, still well under what we've anticipated. So with that, the administration recommends approval of the awarding of the bids for phase 1.
All right, do you have a motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussion? I'd like to take just a moment to praise our boiler for retirement after, 1970, right? So that's 50 years? 72. Yeah, so thank you for your service.
So I had asked Dr. Renberg, Heidi, about, is this the final skyscraper boiler, right? Then they're all gone.
So this and the Ed Center. So yes,
Oh.
yes. So the Ed
There's
Center
more
will
over
be,
there?
Yep, the next year we'll be doing the Ed Center. So, yep. So those are our oldest.
So then we're done with them.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
'cause they are tired.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for all your work.
All right, any further discussion? If not, Member Clerk, could you please take a roll call?
Yes, Member Christensen votes aye. Member Corcoran?
Aye.
Member Hagelin?
Aye.
Member Peterson?
Aye.
Member Rayfield?
Aye.
Member Ebeline?
Aye.
Member Tice?
Aye.
All ayes.
All right, motion's approved. 812, bus leasing. Member Renberg?
Yes. So every 2 years we look to do our bus leases. So we had our 2023 buses that came due in the lease, and so we're looking to replace those with the 2025 buses. We do have long lead times on them and everything, so we're working through that with Hoagland. Hoping to have them at the start of the school year, but not guaranteed for next school year. But again, it's replacing the 20 buses that were our 2023s with 25s. And then we also, as part of that though, are putting towards the lease 6 of our 2017 buses that we owned. So as we looked at, we reduced routes, we just are no longer in need of those 6 buses. So putting that resource towards the lease was a great option. With that, administration would recommend approval for the bus leasing.
Move to approve. Any further discussion? Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a quick question here. It looks like we have a combination of leased and owned buses. What does the balance of that stand at, assuming that this is approved?
That's a good question. So we have probably about 6 2017s left, probably about 6 2018s. We probably have around 12 to 13 2020s that we just purchased last year, and then the rest will be leased. So we have 22 22s and 20 of these. So if we add them all up, where's the calculator for the years of service? But that would be the breakdown.
Yeah, so we have a preferential side towards leasing. Are we moving towards a model where we're going to be leasing all buses, or is there an advantage to owning a few of them?
No, there is an advantage to owning some of them. So yeah, as we look to get rid of the 2017s and 18s, we will likely be coming with some bonding information from Ehlers, which is how we did it last time. We did capital notes, they're called. And so if the tax capacity is able to do that, it provides us a lot more flexibility. These 25s, we've actually been working on them for a very long time and kind of just got the green light, go ahead ahead that yes, we actually would get them because they had a year shutdown in the factory. And so it is realistic that owning is a big deal to make sure that you have the ability to keep it going. So we would look to that in the future. And again, capital notes would be a great option for that.
That's exactly where I was going with my next question.
Okay. Yeah, no problem.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yep.
So I did read in here, and then I did hear it right, that these are the 2023s, right?
They're replacing the 2023s.
Yeah, replacing the 2023s. So do we usually ship them out that quickly?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, they're 2-year leases, so.
2 years, so every 2. Okay.
And then sometimes we're able to, with those 2718s, we're able to purchase the 2020s. So every couple cycles, we get that purchase too.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, every time I drive by one of our buses and I see them in nice condition, I get a warm feeling.
They are beautiful.
One of the benefits of being a board member, you get a good feeling when you see a bus. So.
Beautiful buses.
All right, any further discussion? If not, Member Clerk, could you please take a roll call?
Member Tyson?
Aye.
Member Christensen votes aye. Member Corcoran?
Aye.
Member Hagelin?
Aye.
Member Peterson?
Aye.
Member Rayfield?
Aye.
Member Evelyn?
Aye.
All ayes.
All right, the motion's approved. 813, first general fund budget adjustment FY24.
All right. Bring you all the way back to June last year when we started to talk about what the budget would look like for this year. At that point in time, we really did not know what the legislature was going to land on for a lot of their final decisions in our funding. And again, with our funding coming from the state at such high levels, we needed that information. So what we did was pretty much just do a bare bones budget that was really matching the year before. And so now we're coming back and making the adjustments that we need to based on all that information that we worked on all summer. So you were part of that process to say, okay, we got an additional $5.1 million in that state revenue through the legislative session, and what are we going to use that on and how we're going to do that. And so all of that is now reflected in the budget in front of you. We do also have an adjustment in our food service area. So again, with free meals, we didn't know exactly how that was going to land with participation. And so we're able to know that now that we're into the school year. And then you'll also see change in our construction. So we sold our bonds, the 2023A bonds, in September. So those have been added. And then the construction expenses also added in that area. So with that, I accept questions about it.
Any questions? All right, do we have a,
Yeah, I have a quick question here. Can you, I'm looking at this sideways, that's why I'm wrenched here. In layman's terms, if we're just looking at this general fund, for those of us who are not accountants, I see the projected revenue was like 84.1 million. Actual was 92.5.
That's the adjustment. Yep.
That's the
So that's what
adjustment,
I'm, adjusting it to.
But at the same time, I'm seeing expenditures are expected to be 84.1, which would have been even keel.
Yes.
And we're looking at more like 85.8. So are we looking at,
right?
We're in the black here by 7 million? Is it, am I understanding this correctly, or
So,
help me?
I know, isn't that a good
Help me
one?
figure this out.
So a lot of it has to do with our LTFM. So we've talked about this in the past, and we call it our LTFM noise. So we know that we have a negative fund balance in our long-term facilities maintenance program, and we need to fix that. In order to fix that, what we have to do is not spend a dime of that money, so the revenue is still coming in, but we can't spend any of the money out of the general fund. We have to spend it out of the construction fund, which was again why we sold those bonds. In order to correct that. And that's because we're a 1A district. So when we became that, we're able to levy above that 380 amount, then we no longer could just underspend and correct our deficit. We had to just stop spending, get levy adjustments later, and do it that way. So that's what you're seeing is about 5 million of that difference is going to be the fact that we cannot spend LTFM and that money will get adjusted out later. So we are going to see a bigger fund balance this year because we're not spending it and we're saving it to get adjusted out in the levy later.
Okay, so when you say adjust out the levy later, that will correct itself, unfortunately.
And it's going to be 2 years down the road. So that's the problem of this money really isn't ours. We're holding it in the coffer for when these adjustments come through. The second thing that I will say is the board has committed to the 1 million per year to fund balance. We are putting in this first year a little bit more money into the fund balance, and then the second year we are putting less. And that's part of that right sizing document that you approved tonight, is the fact that we were able to balance it a little with some special education revenue being up a little due to the fact that we finally got above that hold harmless. So we were able to put that into this year, save a little money, and then we'll end up with the 2 million at the end of 2 years. But we put a little bit more in this year.
Thank you for helping me better understand that, and thank you to the accountants for bearing with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a quick question. So some districts are talking about with the addition of the free breakfast and the free meals that they're having a hardship. So how are we looking in that area? It seems like we're doing okay.
Yeah, so even during COVID, I would say that we did really well under those meals. We're not seeing back up to that level with just the free meals from the state as we did during COVID, but we're definitely seeing great participation and being able to add to that fund balance. So yeah, we more had a balanced budget to begin with, and now being able to hopefully add around the $200,000 mark. So.
Great.
And the best part about that I just want to highlight a lot is that food service starting next year, or the following year, excuse me, we'll be able to start to charge back some stuff and help out the general fund and things like that. So having this fund balance is a really big deal to get it built up. They've been buying equipment with some of the money too, so being able to do that, keep that out of the general fund is huge. So really a good partnership with community and food service in that area.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to say, I think the best part of that is that every kid gets breakfast and lunch.
Absolutely.
All right, do we have a motion to approve 813? So
Second.
any further discussion? If not, Member Clerk, please take a roll call.
Member Eveline?
Aye.
Member Tyson?
Aye.
Member Christensen votes aye. Member Corcoran?
Aye.
Member Hagelin?
Aye.
Member Peterson?
Aye.
Member Rayfield?
Aye.
All ayes.
All right, the motion's approved. 9, new business. First reading of the proposed discontinuance of request for services policy 306.
Yeah, this is a policy Member Raveline mentioned earlier that is obsolete, and the policy committee is recommending that we discontinue this policy. So we need your, actually, first reading will take action next month.
Okay. 9.2, first reading of the vending machines policy 311.
The purpose of this policy is to establish procedures to govern vending machines installed in the district. You'll see some language changes and additions to create more specificity within the policy. An increase in the bid amount from $10,000 to $25,000, and then a statement on page 3 indicating that revenues from vending machines need to be spent within the school that the vending machines located.
Right.
Member Chair, I have one thing to add to that too. We also changed some of the specifics that used to require board action to now just require board information. So now we've kind of empowered the superintendent to make some decisions or his delegates on our behalf while keeping us informed. And I think that will simplify just the kind of the process of the ins and outs. So that's in the policy as well.
That in 9.2, Member Eveline?
Yes, that is in 9.2. It is under section 3 authorization.
Okay.
Line item B. The policy used to read that the school board needed to give approval for some of these things, and it was just, it was burdensome. Thank you, Dr. Massey. That's exactly the word I was fishing for. It was burdensome. It's more important that we be informed on those decisions and then we take action should we choose to. So we empowered our staff to do their job.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, 9.3, first reading of the hazing prohibition policy 431.
And the changes that were made were taken from the MSBA model policy with respect to this policy. You can see that on the first page of the policy, there's some additional language, D, E, and F, with respect to more specificity with respect to what is hazing, definitions around retaliation, information around reporting. So some really good additions there to provide further protections for students.
Okay. 9.4, first reading of the Safe and Supporting Schools Anti-Bullying Policy 541.
The purpose of this policy is to assist the school district in its goal of preventing and responding to acts of bullying, intimidation, violence, reprisal, retaliation, and other similar disruptive and detrimental behavior. There's language added on the first page of the policy with respect to cyberbullying, the use of technology, and then I think a really noteworthy change here with respect to bullying that happens outside of school, that if the disruptive nature of the bullying or the cyberbullying that happens on the weekend or at home or outside school, but affects the learning environment for the victim or students who are involved, the school would have jurisdiction and influence to intervene.
Member Chair, I hate to, Dr. Massey always gives us such a great summary, but one of the other things that we added to this policy that we felt was important in committee was that if they're using district equipment, since we have so many district laptops, we have district iPads that go home with students, we also add that to the policy so we have oversight of those things regardless of where they happen or when they happen. If they're using our equipment, we have the oversight and ability to reach into that and have some disciplinary action there as well. So, thank you. That's good.
All right. Agenda item 10, review upcoming calendar dates. You'll notice the last one is graduation. And with that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?